You can go by that now.
Okay, you're on. We're on. Good evening. Welcome to the Business and Economic Development Committee. Members on this committee are Councillor Fish, Councillor Schaefer, Councillor Trumbull, and Councillor Leonard, and myself. I'm Councillor Hawes. This looks like all airport items.
That's right.
Our first one is an update, correct, from the airport director? Oh, there you are.
Yes.
Boy, you guys move around fast.
Yes, thank you. So we're back again for another airport update and progress on some of the construction projects that we are working on. So to start off with the Terminal Connector project, it's probably one of the most visible because when passengers are traveling through the airport, they look out the window and there's a brand new shiny jet bridge and there's work happening on the ramp. So the project continues to move along. It's on track with the schedule that we had developed for the project. As for the runway, we have successfully transitioned to phase number 3 of this year, which is the shortened version of the runway. Its impact to operations is minimal. We coordinated ahead of time with the airlines and all of our key stakeholders to make sure that it was a transition that would work for everybody. And so now we turn the attention to phase number 4, which means that we will reopen at the full length of the runway and start getting ready to wrap up this year's construction season. So that is what's happening with the construction projects, and I will turn it over to Amy for an update on statistics and marketing.
I'll pass those around, and I apologize if they're sent in, but I'm not sure if they were put into your report, but it's the April numbers. May, I don't quite have completed yet, but you'll see April numbers were down just a little bit, but still right on target from where we wanted and just barely below kind of what we had projected where we would be falling, and still some of the highest numbers that we've seen in years. We think the decrease somewhat is to do with some of the construction that we had going on. Some of it was the change in season, so some of those seasonal flights shift right around that time, so it depends on when we see the change in those seasonal offerings. And then we had really heavy numbers for February vacation, and so a lot of years we'll see that flip-flop depending on when families get their deals and when they plan their trips, whether it's a February vacation trip or an April trip. People don't usually go both of those weeks for the most part. So I think we saw some of that traffic. That February vacation week was really heavy this year. So I think we saw some of that. But if you look at the rest of numbers, we're right on target as far as budgets and where we should be. And so we should be hitting the end of year budget when we get those reports out. I know we're into our new fiscal year, but the reporting is a little bit behind because of the airlines and the numbers that we wait for. So everything else looks there. The website, so if you go to flybangor.com, on the very top, there's a strip that talks about our construction projects. It's Ticket to a Better BGR. And if you click on there, we're updating pictures constantly. So if you want to take a look at what's happening with the construction, you can go on there and see some pictures. We update as to what phase of the project that we're in, or if there's any updates that the public needs to know. And then exciting news. So when I first started at the airport about 6 years ago, I had a month to redo our website because it was in that fiscal year that it had been budgeted. And so we desperately needed to get onto a new web platform that was accessible to us. And so we did a very kind of rush job, got it up and going, functional, pretty. We did a few updates. We've done some updates over the years, but we're going to be doing a full sort of website refresh. And looking at some of the analytics and what our passengers are looking for. We had originally planned to do this year 1 of COVID, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense to do anything year 1 of COVID because nobody was coming to our website, because nobody was going anywhere. But now we're seeing such a huge increase in traffic that it's a good time for us to do that. So that'll be happening in the coming weeks. That will also refresh BGR Aviation. So that's the FBO website that we just did a couple of years ago to kind of branch those off because they're such different business segments for us. So it'll kind of follow suit with that. And then we'll sort of do like an every 12 months refresh of both of those in opposite cycles so that we're constantly kind of looking at the analytics of what our passengers are looking for. Any questions about stats or any as far as community engagement, end of school year and the summer are really busy for us with tours. The summer is a lot of summer camps, several of them aviation related or transportation related. We participate in the Bangor Parks and Rec tours, so we bring in all of their kids throughout that week, and we provide tours. So we're still able to do those even with the construction. They look a little bit different, but we'll have them in, so we've got more coming. We did host the annual Troop Grooters Memorial event. And then we have a new thing at the airport that we're working with the FAA and the air traffic controllers. It's called Coffee with Controllers. Some other airports do this, and it's a great way for hobbyist pilots. We've got, crews, passengers that come through our FBO and the airport to come in and learn a little bit about different aspects of air traffic control, why things happen the way they do. They can ask questions. So we're going to kind of rotate this around some different facilities at the airport as well. It sort of falls in line with the plane spotting events that we've held with our plane spotters group, but this is a much more targeted aviation enthusiast pilot group. We had a great turnout for the first one. We were kind of surprised because it's summer and people don't necessarily attend these things, but we held it on a weekend morning at the FBO. So watch for those if anybody wants to swing by. We participated in the Bangor Region Chamber Golf Scramble. As we do every year. And then I attended, along with Bagita and Brad from Economic Development, we went to the Maine Innovation Exchange at UMaine, which for us is great. UMaine has a biojet fuel project that we've been working with them on for years. And so following that through and potential partnerships, but some of the innovations that they have, especially in their composite labs and so on, are things that we could potentially use down the road at the airport and some future innovation technology things. So always good. We held a job fair on June 18th. We have not held one of these since immediately post-COVID. It was very well attended, and we actually had all of our partners. So we invited the car rentals. We had air traffic control there because we are in desperate need of air traffic controllers at the tower. We had TSA, the airlines, and we learned that we're going to do it a little earlier next year. So when the airlines first start hiring for their seasonal employees and the uptick in traffic that we see in the summer. But it was very well attended. There was not a time during the event that we didn't have people in there actively talking to potential employees. So it's good. And then our social media numbers, I don't know if anybody has followed our social media lately, but we had Chase from Paw Patrol, who made an appearance at the airport. He was left behind by someone. He has still not found his home. So if anybody's still looking for Chase, we'd still have to find his home. But it kind of took on a life of its own. So Angel did a great job with that. And our social media numbers continue to climb. And a lot of it is people looking for summer travel advice. So this is my plug. If you're flying, get there at least 2 hours beforehand, because we've got lots and lots of people trying to get through TSA.
Yes, you do. Councilor Tractor?
Back up on the numbers there, because I was just looking, actually, if you, and maybe it was because, like you said, the days we were down, but if we had sold, the loads were pretty good. I mean, if we had sold every available flight we had, we still wouldn't have been able to reach last year's numbers.
Correct. That was
so-
because of the closure.
Yeah, so, yeah, so,
Yeah.
so these are actually very strong numbers.
Yeah.
When you look at the load capacity, yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Can you hear this? No?
Yeah.
Back to you.
Perfect. So we go on to the next item. And that is permission to apply for a SMART grant. And so the part of my bigger vision for the airport is to try to figure out how we can start planning down the road and start implementing those items that were identified in the airport's master plan. So a couple of years back, the airport underwent this planning process where we identified where are we going as an airport, and obviously that needs to be signed off by the FAA. And the SMART Smart Grant program really allows for planning in phases. So what we are asking today is permission to apply for a Smart Grant Stage 1, which would be Energy Master Planning, which is the first step. And then the second step would, once we, if we get selected for a Stage 1 grant, we would qualify for a Stage 2, which would be actual implementation of the items that we identified during Stage 1. It's something that the airport needs due to the shortage in power supply coming into the airport. And so this would just help us expedite that process. And the Smart Grant Stage 1 option is up to $2 million. So we are definitely asking for $2 million. There's no local match contributing for this grant, so it's 100% funded by the Department of Transportation. Going on to Stage 2, which would be implementation, that would be up to $15 million with the 95% contribution. And that would be next year.
Questions? Comments?
You need a
We
motion.
need a motion.
I move that you are granted permission to approve the grant, apply
Second,
for the grant.
Okay, so I moved and seconded for the airport to apply for the Smart Grant Stage 1. Is there any further discussion? Any objections? Seeing none? Why?
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda,
No,
it
one
hasn't been
Lots of
determined. I may
stuff.
have a conflict on the next item. I,
on this?
yeah, I own the adjacent property, at least the adjacent part of that parking lot, so.
Does the committee feel that Council Trumbull has a conflict of interest on this item?
I do not.
Say that again.
Where this is the
next
data,
item.
I own the adjacent property, at least the adjacent part of the parking lot that this group is leasing. It's a parking lot goes from from Wadland Road to the back, and they have the back part of it. I have the front part of it.
It's already been, well, one has said that he does not. Do you have?
I'm not on the committee. I was just trying to.
Okay. Does anybody else feel that he has a conflict? But so far, it's a no. It's a no.
Should they pass a motion? I'm just asking solicitor.
I would suggest that be voted on,
Okay,
unless it's already been voted on before, but I don't know what the item is in front of you.
We've not voted this before, so,
okay. Okay,
so we do need to do a vote. So those who believe Council Trumbull has a conflict with the item dealing with 250 Odland Street, is that Odland Road?
Well, maybe I don't,
Is
if
that
it's
a-
straight, not the road. I don't know.
Is there anyone?
Is
Yes,
that a vote for the committee or council?
committee.
with the
This is
committee,
part of The committee, so
The
it's a
committee.
committee vote.
it's a committee vote. All right, we're just gonna do it this way. Council Shay,
No.
Council Fish,
No.
No.
I would say no. Council Trumbull,
I can't vote.
then say, you said what you just said. I
Okay.
can't vote.
Say that's right.
He still does not have a conflict.
All right,
Is that all we need to do?
yeah, thank you. So the next agenda item is a lease reassignment for the property at 250 Alden Road. Brad Wallace here, our business development specialist, to review this with you.
All right, so the details on this is the Bangor Suites Hotel parking lot is what we're talking about. So not the Bangor Suites Hotel, but just the parking lot. The Bangor Suites Hotel was purchased, and it's critically important that the hotel have a parking lot to continue business. So the request is that we complete a reassignment and assumption of lease agreement. And that will allow the new owner to utilize the parking lot to run the hotel. The new owner is also very plans to do a major remodel on the hotel and fix up the hotel and needs the parking lot to be able to do so, to be able to run the hotel. Now also, once the new owner has settled in, then the new owner is very interested in a new lease agreement with market rate terms in the future, but in the interest of time and for the sale, we believe the reassignment is currently the best approach.
Questions? Council Fish.
What parking, I see the chart now shows the subject property, which is kind of in that little triangular place, I assume, because it looks like to the right of that is the parking lot. Can you explain, so where it says subject property, there's an arrow there,
Right, and
So
that goes to that.
the
parking lot.
hotel is in that little shaded area. What parking had the hotel had previously?
They didn't,
It's-
They
this
didn't have
was their,
any
this was
parking?
always their parking from the beginning.
So it's the same, but they're reassigning it to the new owner.
To a
the
new
new
owner.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
they did have
Yeah.
this, it's just being reassigned.
That's
right.
right, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Okay. Thank you. There's no comments. Do we have anything else?
No, that's all the business. Yeah, you're meeting again next Monday, so we have more things on the agenda for next Monday.
Well, then, that is the end of the agenda, so we are going to adjourn at 5:42. Stay tuned for GovUp.